Hello and welcome to the very first ever Inside Gaming review of 2019. We're talking about Far Cry 5. What's it called?
Far Cry New Dawn.
Man.
It's Far Cry 5.
Basically.
Spoilers.
I'm your host, Adam Kovic. I didn't play it. I'm joined by Alanah and Lawrence. I guess official titles being people who played the game.
Yep.
And will have opinions on this matter. I'm coming purely as a Far Cry fan. I've played most of the games, full disclosure, and I'm the guy who said Skyrim with guns. Tell me, what is this game all about?
It's Far Cry 5, but reskinned. So it's set immediately after the end of Far Cry 5,
Spoiler.
and the whole world is all like pink and explodey.
It's the primal treatment, basically. Yeah, like Alanah said, they put flowers everywhere. You literally go back to a lot of the same levels. They're relatively clever about how they redress it, but it is Far Cry 5. So you go around, you recruit NPCs. You are in this commune in the grimdark apocalyptic future that has color. The two crazy sisters that you see in like the trailer, they're the villains of this game.
The highwaymen.
It's the exact same setup where there's like basic plot. Then you're just a generic person who's part of this convoy going down to help out this thing. The highwaymen waylay your train. There's a sequence where they do something real crazy in front of you to show how evil they are, and then you're thrown into an open world where bit by bit you recruit these specialists to build out your little commune force of peace and happiness.
Some of the commune stuff is kind of cool though. Like you can craft some pretty rad weapons. My favorite so far is it's a sort of saw gun. It's a gun that literally shoots saws.
That's the only fun one so far. So yeah, I don't mean to be overly. Well, I am going to be overly negative, I think.
I am too. I just want to start with positives. I think it's pretty.
Right. Yeah.
Shooting is good because it's a Far Cry game, and therefore, is generally pretty good.
Right.
Some of the weapons are fun. Some of the vehicles can get pretty silly. I like some of the puzzle design, because it's a Far Cry game. It has drug trip stuff where you solve some interesting puzzles with some gadget that you need to line up, kind of like The Witness. And it gets creative, but my list of complaints is a lot longer.
Fifth Far Cry game did something that was different. Your character almost never talked. In this game, is it sort of the same motif that they're going with, or do you play as an actual character?
No, you're not a character. Days of Jason Brody are long gone. Who wasn't a character anyway? No, you don't play. You don't speak. You are a captain of security on a train, and then you end up here and help people.
Is there anything left over from 5?
Yeah,
because you mentioned Bliss.
Yeah, some of the Seed clan is still around. You actually go interact with them because they're that cult is still around, even though it's been a few generations. Yeah, there's some cheeky throwbacks, but I mean, honestly, functionally, it's just we have all these assets and we need to cram a new game out of it. Yeah, they put in the homework to they gave it a fresh of paint as they could, quite literally sometimes. It's got that kind of French street art vibe that Watch Dogs 2 had.
After Mad Max Fury Road, I think it sort of set the template that you no longer have to be post-apocalyptic and sad. You could be bright and have fun with it, and I can see the new Rage doing that.
Yeah.
And that definitely shows here. Do you think they're just both kind of drawing inspiration from that?
Maybe. I mean, they really do just chuck a lot of pink on everything, and that's kind of the extent of it.
It's at least not Fallout, where it's gray and drab. Even Fallout 4 tried it.
The world is really pretty, and I try to get across the map as many different ways as I can. I'll swap vehicles whenever I see a new vehicle or whatever. You see a lot of stuff, and you get attacked by a lot of stuff, and you pass combat all the time. There's never a 15-minute span of me walking in a straight line. I'll always be attacked by a tiger or a wolverine, or maybe I was swimming not that long ago and a piranha showed up, and I totally didn't expect that. So it does throw surprises at you in the wasteland really, really often, while also being aesthetically pleasing. But fighting the highwaymen is really annoying. I don't enjoy doing that at all. Every time they show up, I'm annoyed.
Well, I guess a lot of these open world games, especially the Ubisoft, can start to feel a little samey, and they've been sort of trying to fight that formula for years. Does it feel that way, or it sounds like you had a pretty positive experience with it?
To me, they're leaning more into the sameness. They had enough passes at this that they're just simplifying it. They're boiling it down. So you can see now, the enemies only come in 3 difficulties. It's not even levels now. It's just easy, medium, hard. And crafting materials, they just throw them at you everywhere. There's some that you get bottlenecked on, but they're pretty easy to find.
It's really funny to be in a story sequence and be like, oh, let me stop to get this backpack. Oh, make sure I get this duct tape. But it's just so Mickey Mouse is in it.
The thing for me is it always comes down to gameplay loops and reward mechanics. So if you're driving in a car and you decide, oh, I'm gonna stop and fight these highwaymen, in return you get bullets and crafting materials. And theoretically, that plays into the mechanics of the game at large, so you can build better guns. But there aren't that many guns, and they're all locked behind these large upgrades that you need to upgrade your base to get. And those kind of happen more in story beats. So if you roll it all the way back, it really is just more of an annoyance when somebody runs into your car and prevents you from driving to where you wanted to go or doing the next story mission. Hunting is really fucking simple, especially after Red Dead. Like, there's no skill to it. And if you run it over with a car, it'll ruin it, but otherwise than that, you just shoot it with a shotgun until it's dead. And then
really? Arrows have no...
Nah.
It doesn't help you in any way.
The only thing about that is, like, it's got the perk system from 5, which is tied to challenges. So it's like, kill 10 people with a pistol, kill 10 people with a shotgun, and you get perk points for that. And that helps you unlock more gun slots, better abilities, the ability to stealth kill higher grades of enemies.
Well, if we're fully boiling it down to what this game is, this is the thing that annoys me the most about it, is that it's so aggressive about microtransactions that it almost feels like a mobile game.
It's getting gross.
It
really?
very, very, very much annoyed me.
What's an example?
Well, Far Cry 3 is my favorite Far Cry. And in that, you are unlocking abilities and you're getting the tattoos on your arm, and it's all happening through the story, right? And then I start playing this having not played 5. I played a little bit of 5, but not much of 5. And it's like telling me that I need to spend a certain amount of perk points to get binoculars, something that is used for tagging
it's like
enemies
a core
just
Far Cry mechanic.
normally in Far Cry. And it was like, are you serious? And you go to that menu, everything to begin with is very, very, very expensive. And there's constantly a little thing down the bottom telling you that you can buy additional perks. It's the same as you can only have 2 weapons at the beginning of the game. This is a Far Cry game. Like, let me have a ridiculous arsenal of weapons. Don't make me feel compelled to buy them. And you can kind of exploit the game and figure out ways to get those perks easily. It's not that you need to buy anything, but it feels like...
So nothing's behind a paywall, right?
Well, there's
Not
nothing that you
ultimately.
can't get instead of adding extra things for you to buy to make it slightly more interesting or to add extra content for people who would want it. They took things out of what makes Far Cry good so that you would have things to buy or so that you would have to grind to get things so you might consider buying them. And it genuinely annoyed the shit out of me. I was like, this is what Far Cry has become? Just things that were basic mechanics in a
Being
previous
able to
Far Cry
repair
game.
cars,
That they took away from you. And all throughout the world, it'll be like, you can't do this because you don't have this perk. I'm like, what are you, Candy Crush? Like, it sucks.
For a game that's relatively consequence-free, like when you die, you just pop right back up 10 seconds later, just down the street from where you were.
Of course.
You don't lose anything. And the game is also so permissive and welcoming in every other way. Like, you can beat any level with any gun. You barely have to think about it. So for them to then be like, oh, but you got to pay for rockets. Like, well, why? If this is meant to just be a freewheeling, do whatever the fuck you want game, then why put these arbitrary restrictions in place? To what you were talking about with skill systems, the thing that bugged me in 3 was like, you got more stealth kills by being stealthy.
Yeah.
But with 5, it's just like, no, it's just perks. You can buy whatever you want whenever you want. You just have to do the right challenges to get the currency to do it or find magazines or whatever. Same thing here, which to me disassociates the decisions you make as a player from the consequences in the game even more.
Yeah, because you're getting just arbitrary points rather than actually unlocking or progressing a skill.
Yeah.
Because you're not proving any skills in that thing.
Yeah.
But it's just...
The only way to express skill in the game is really just to min-max the challenges. To be like, well, I've already killed this many people with a pistol, so I'll use an SMG this time. And then, in that way, I guess the game does encourage you to like explore the variety, but it is just rifle, shotgun, pistol, SMG. To me, this isn't enough. It would be enough if I really liked Far Cry and I 100% at 5 and I wanted more. Then I'm like, great, more, cool.
Sure.
But I didn't even finish Far Cry 5 and I was pretty over it.
That was my next question. In the past, we've had Blood Dragon,
Which was great.
and then we had Primal, which was more of a standalone game. So it's sub Far Cry. Is it being touted to be as long as something like Far Cry 5, which wasn't too long of a game. I felt like a lot of it was sort of getting lost in exploring and sort of like the mini grind.
There are only like 20 story missions, and there are like, 13 specialists to recruit? So, that's a grip of missions, I guess. But yeah, it really just does seem like they have a set of rules to make an open world, and they just, they put more paint on it.
Yeah, it for sure feels shorter to me, but it isn't necessarily. I guess that depends on how you want to play. You can also play co-op, and I think it's sort of designed for co-op. It feels like Far Cry with Wildlands mixed into it, but there were also some flaws that I found in co-op that I hadn't found when I was playing by myself, which is like NPCs will sort of know to pay attention to whoever the host is, so you can get caught behind 2 NPCs. The NPCs will move out of Lawrence's way, but they'll be stuck in the doorway in front of me and not have the programming to know to move out of my way. So I got stuck multiple times. That was probably the biggest issue, but there's also just like vehicles get stuck out of nowhere. We got car just got wedged between 2 trees. I got a boat got stuck today and it wouldn't let me push it. Like,
I had
just
a story mission where the AI driver like hit a rock, and then I just stood there for 30 seconds and it said, mission failed. It's like, cool.
My dog companion got stuck in a bridge until he just eventually died. Yeah.
Yeah.
They've made making Far Cry's a science. And this is just, they turned the crank on the Far Cry machine. Which I hate saying because there is clearly, like, work was put into this. A lot of talented artists made the game look beautiful. But there were no risks taken and certainly no inspiration about how to fundamentally change the experience. So as somebody who, like, I'm already kind of washed out on Far Cry, this is just the last game that I need.
I think the same.
Primal was at least enough of a shift away because there were no guns. You didn't have the same technology, so even if I think they use the same map from 4, it's not as noticeable because you don't get around the same way. This one, you're still using all the same technology, it's just a bit more rusted.
I think they tried to go like Sunset Overdrive with it, of like, we're gonna have wacky guns and everything's gonna be the fun apocalypse, right?
Yeah.
Except because it's Far Cry, they also tried to be gritty with it. And there is that kind of weird tonal issue where you'll find these notes, which are, there's just text logs everywhere, kind of trying to flesh out the game. Like, oh, times are so hard, wow. And then you'll have like a specialist who says my guy and my dude, and this is like 70 years into the post-apocalyptic future. And it's just this weird kind of like self-referential nod and a wink plus trying to be very self-serious and just kind of swapping between the two without much warning.
It felt to me like they tried to make every villain feel like Voss or Pagan Min. But in doing so, they just made all of them cheesy. Like none of them are believable or compelling because they tried to make everyone like that. You're like, what if you had some grounded characters? And there are some in the Homestead posterity. But for the most part, they're all just kind of douche bro-y. A little bit.
From a scale of Voss to Suicide Squad Joker, where do they land on the douche scale?
Like right in the middle.
Yeah, I do appreciate, like, the acting is good, the writing's okay.
Yeah.
Like, the writing is as good as it can be for you have 1 minute to convince the player that they're going to spend 20 hours trying to kill these people. Like, the crazy thing that they do is they kill somebody with a motorcycle helmet, rah, and then she gets up on your face with blood splatter all over her. Whoa. I don't know. I feel so burned
jaded.
out. Well, it's the same fucking thing. Like, I'm getting to where I can just call it. Then the first story mission, you go in and like break this guy out, and he's like, "Oh, we got out here. Ooh, what's this? It's a car with a mounted gun on the back." And I'm like, "Of course, there's gonna be a turret sequence at the end of this story mission because that's what the flowchart says players want at this point. They want to just blow stuff up." And then like while you're driving, I'm shooting these guys, and they're launching off their cars like they're spring-loaded. I'm like, man, this is just same old power fantasy
It is
thing.
extremely generic. They just sprayed some pink on it, is how it feels to me. With a lot of microtransactions, that it feels like it's following a mobile game model.
Yeah.
And I was very mad at it for that. But I don't want to say that no one's going to like it. Right?
We're not telling you not to like it. Like, I still watch Fast and Furious movies, and those are by the numbers until they go to space or go back in time. Yeah, if you like Far Cry, this is definitely more Far Cry, which sounds like a bit of a cop-out thing to say, but like I said, if you finish 5 and you're hungry for more, then this is the game for you because it's
probably fun to play in co-op.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Because everything is, but still.
Yeah, that co-op bailout kind of rings a little hollow for me. I feel like there's only so many games that can be buoyed up by having a friend with you. And especially when we got like Anthem coming out and Destiny 2 is still really good and Warframe's good. And I don't know that this one necessarily justifies your time or your money.
Is it safe to say if you're a diehard Far Cry fan, this is something for you? But
only if you're a diehard recent Far Cry fan, because I
Okay.
would say like I was a diehard fan of 2 and 3 for very different reasons,
Oh.
and this is just disappointing to me.
I feel sort of the same way as a longtime fan that the last 3, I guess, or the last 2-ish or whatever, started to feel a little samey.
Yeah, same as Assassin's Creed, right?
Same with Fallout for me.
Yeah,
It's like action RPG that took out, like, removed most mechanics because they didn't want to alienate people by making it too complicated.
Yeah.
So it's an action RPG with no stats, no punishment, no consequence, and no, like, really gameplay mechanic. It's just blow shit up and level up.
Which, again, is fine. I want to say, like, you might enjoy it because it is dumb fun driving around a big, pretty open world where you just shoot stuff, and there are some puzzles that I did enjoy doing. Like, I was angry at it in principle. It's not like it's not fun to play, because it is. It has flaws, but it's still... Yeah, I still think there will be people who will like it. It's not that I would recommend it to anyone.
Okay.
I wouldn't highly recommend it. So.
Well, there you have it. 2 expert reviewers and some guy who made a dumb quote one time talked about a game you may love or hate. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Give this game a rest, Ubi, please. To me, the kind of, to Alanah's point a while ago, what I always identified Far Cry was, and where the series really started breaking down, was that scouting, plan, and execute mechanic. Of like, you use the binoculars to see where all the enemies are, you survey the tools that you have, you choose, do I want to go stealth, do I want to go loud, and then you execute your plan, And then hopefully there are consequences to that are more profound than just like, well, I stabbed people until someone saw me and then I just pulled out my other gun and shot everybody. I would like the game to be, I don't want to say like necessarily harder, but just have consequences that mean something. And then also like allow me to see a situation, make a plan, and then execute it, even if it's the wrong plan. The game's not just, it's just not that
There's no
anymore.
punishment for anything, really. Yeah.
Yeah, and no AI behavior that keeps you honest.
They're all the same.
Yeah, and have really short vision cones, and like it's really easy to stealth around people. There was like a room of 4 dudes, a single room, and I was able to throw a rock, and they all turned, and I just went and stabbed them all in the neck one at a time. And none of them saw me.
Feels like something that will be on mobile in 5 years and would make sense on mobile.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
Any
Something
other-
about it.
Any other final thoughts, Alanah?
The only other final thought is that, this being our first review, the format is probably going to evolve and change. We will have
Absolutely.
scores at some point. We didn't want to jump right off the bat with that without having like a guide for how we're going to do scores. Probably wouldn't have given this one a great score. Yeah, stick around.
Something like a real low number, like a 9 out of 10, or
Yeah.
like an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah,
an
because
8.75.
Ubisoft paid us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you guys for watching, and thank you for your time. We look forward to making more content for you here at Inside Gaming.
You win! My 1000th video game beaten. Hello, and welcome to Inside Gaming. I'm Sonntag, and I'm really good at video games. But I don't expect you to stick around just because I've beaten 1,000 video games. So let's take a look at what Inside Gaming is going to be all about. Ugh. It's news, analysis, and in-depth features, all coming from a love of gaming and community. Here at Inside Gaming, we love games, and we aim to celebrate them. If you love gaming too, you're in the right place, so please, spend some time with us, because you're worth it. And we're poor.